Before the sun warms the mountain, before even the crows stir in the trees, a faint blue glow hangs in the air like breath held in stillness. Inside a simple wooden home nestled at the edge of the hillside, the tea farmer stirs beneath a woven quilt. The room is cold. Tatami mats, slightly frayed at the edges, soften the floor beneath bare feet as he rises without sound. He does not light a lantern. He does not speak. The day, even in its earliest breath, demands respect. And so, with practiced quiet, he folds his bedding and tucks it neatly into its place along the wall, just as he has done every day of his life. There is a stillness to this hour, the kind that does not ask for attention, but gently offers it. The farmer moves with a pace shaped by years, neither rushed nor delayed. He walks through the narrow house, its wood creaking softly like an old friend stretching its limbs. His first stop is the Kamidana, the household Shinto shrine, a small wooden shelf, lovingly polished, adorned with folded paper offerings and a tiny dish of salt. There is no grandeur here, only devotion, reverence wrapped in simplicity. He kneels before the altar, his back straight, hands pressed together in quiet gratitude. With a bowed head, he whispers thanks for the earth, the rain, and the spirits of the mountain who watch over his fields. He offers a sprig of fresh leaves from the branch he gathered the day before. He claps once, softly, not to awaken anyone, but to awaken the spirit within himself. When he rises, the candle's glow behind the altar flickers gently, the only light in the room aside from the paling sky beyond the paper screens. Outside, the air is cool and wet. Fog curls around the stones of the garden path. Bamboo leaves drip with dew, and the rooster has not yet called. The farmer steps into his sandals, worn and patched, and makes his way to the well. Drawing water with a steady rhythm, he splashes his face and arms, each motion deliberate. The cold bites his skin, but he welcomes it. It is the day's first gift, a moment of alertness, of clarity. The water washes away sleep and sharpens his awareness of the world. Back inside, he lights the hearth, not with haste, but with intention. A small bundle of twigs, a spark from flint, a curl of smoke rising like a spirit ascending. A kettle is placed atop a clay stove and filled with water from the well. Soon, it will begin to whisper, then hum, then sing. While it heats, he prepares rice from the previous evening, warmed in a lacquered bowl. He adds a few slices of pickled radish, a strip of dried fish, and a handful of fresh greens from the small kitchen garden outside. Breakfast is simple, quiet, nourishing. He eats in silence. The house around him holds generations. Wooden beams carved by his grandfather's hands, a cupboard built by his father, scrolls on the wall, faded by sun and time, written in brushstrokes full of calm wisdom. Even the floorboards tell stories with each creak. By the time he finishes, the sky beyond the shoji screens has shifted. Not yet gold, but no longer grey. A soft indigo blush spreads behind the mountains. Birds begin to stir in the trees. It is time to begin the first real task of the day, tending to the field's edges. He opens the door and steps out. The world smells of soil, mist, and distant wood smoke. The air is damp and heavy with promise. Along the narrow path that winds between the tea terraces, moss grows thick along the stones. He walks slowly, inspecting the ground. A weed here, a snapped twig there. He stoops, plucks, adjusts, always with a gentle hand. He does not rush this task. These edges, the small things, are just as important as the harvest. A stone out of place today becomes a sprained ankle tomorrow. A bramble left unchecked could tangle new growth in the coming weeks. His care is not about efficiency, but harmony. As the light begins to brighten, it casts long, soft shadows over the tea bushes. They sit in neat rows across the terraced slope, their leaves still slick with morning dew. They are compact, carefully pruned, and low to the ground, inviting harvesters to stoop, to bend, to greet them at their level. The farmer stands still for a moment, hands resting lightly on his sides, and looks out over his field. There is no pride in his gaze, only familiarity. He knows each corner of this hillside like a child knows the lines of his own palm. A crow caws in the distance. A dog barks from a neighbouring home somewhere farther down the slope. But up here, the air still holds its hush. Only the slow unfurling of dawn interrupts the quiet. The farmer turns back toward the house. By now, the kettle has begun its low hum. Inside, steam swirls upward in lazy ribbons. He pours the water into a clay teapot and adds a small scoop of roasted tea leaves. Not the bright green sencha reserved for guests, but the richer, earthier hojicha he drinks each morning. He lets it steep without counting time. Instead, he watches the shadows move across the floor, listens to the breathing of the walls, and feels the warmth rise into the air. Then, with both hands, he lifts the cup. Its surface is smooth and uneven, made by a local potter who shaped each curve by hand. The tea is warm, slightly smoky, soft on the tongue, and in that moment nothing more is needed. The sun breaks the ridgeline. A shaft of light spills across the porch and strikes the edge of the tea field. Dewlight glistens on the bushes like tiny pearls. The day has begun, but it has done so without fanfare. No bells, no deadlines, no noise, just breathe, and warmth, and rhythm. This is how the tea farmer begins each day. Not in a rush toward accomplishment, but in quiet alignment with the world around him. The sun now rests lightly above the mountain's edge, casting long golden fingers across the tea terraces. Mist still clings to the upper corners of the slope, reluctant to release its hold. But here in the middle terraces, where the farmer begins his morning work, the dew has already begun to lift. The bushes are low and compact, their dark green leaves polished by moisture and memory. Each one has been pruned with care over many years, shaped not for beauty but for balance. A balance between growth and control, between giving and resting. The farmer does not work alone. His wife, quiet and steady, joins him with a woven basket at her hip. She wears a simple linen head wrap, hands wrapped in cloth to protect them from the cool morning. A soft rustle comes from behind. A young boy, perhaps 10 years old, barefoot and blinking sleep from his eyes. Their son. Carrying a smaller basket, eager to help, but just as eager to daydream. No words pass between them as they begin. Words are unnecessary here. The work teaches the rhythm. One hand holds the branch. The other plucks, gently but firmly, only the youngest leaves, the tips. 2, sometimes 3 leaves per stem. Not too low, never too rough. The leaves must be coaxed, not taken. They move slowly, bush by bush, step by step down the terrace. Each row holds dozens of bushes, each bush hundreds of leaves, but the harvest is not hurried. Speed bruises the leaves, greed weakens the plants. The farmer knows this. His father taught him with a slap on the wrist, not in anger, but in care. Not because of the mistake, but because of what the plant deserves. The leaves, when they come free, give off a faint green aroma, sweet and fresh, like spring clinging to the fingers. The sound of the pluck is quiet, almost imperceptible, but repeated it becomes a kind of music. A rhythm, pluck, shift, pluck, breathe. Birds call to one another in the trees beyond the terraces. A breeze moves gently through the rows, making the leaves flutter as if in applause. Somewhere far below, a cart creaks over gravel, and the faint scent of firewood drifts up from another home. But none of this interrupts the work. It becomes part of it. Background to a foreground of careful motion. Every so often the farmer pauses. He stretches his back, brushes dust from his knees, and turns his face to the sky. Not to check the time. Time is told here by shadow and warmth, but simply to remember where he is, to breathe deeply, to feel the sun on his neck and the damp soil underfoot. The son, as children do, occasionally forgets the rhythm. His plucking grows fast, imprecise. A gentle cough from the father is all it takes. No scolding, no sternness. Just a reminder, slow down, feel the leaf, honour the process. And the boy, learning in his bones what cannot be taught in words, adjusts. His hands slow, his breath steadies. He becomes part of the field again. Hours pass like this, softly without notice. The sun climbs higher, its heat growing but still mild. Shadows retreat to the edges of the terrace walls. The baskets fill slowly, layer by layer, the soft rustling of leaves marking their progress. Occasionally, they rest. They find a shaded spot near the edge of the field, where a flat stone sits beneath a plum tree. From a cloth pouch, the mother removes small rice balls wrapped in salted leaves. The boy eats quickly, hungry from the work, then lays back to watch clouds drift overhead. The farmer drinks from a gourd of cool well water. The mother rubs her palms, easing the stiffness in her joints. They do not talk much during rest. Their silence is not empty. It is companionable. A silence filled with cicadas, wind, and breath. Soon, they return to the rows. The light has shifted now, warmer, brighter. The dew is long gone, and the leaves feel lighter in the hand. As they descend to the lower terraces, the farmer's pace slows even more. These bushes are older, more delicate. Their leaves are prized, more fragrant and subtle in flavour. He treats them with extra care, bending low, inspecting each tip with the eye of someone who knows their worth. The lower field looks out over the valley. From here one can see the roofs of neighbours' homes, the curling smoke of midday fires, the winding path that leads to the village below. But the farmer rarely looks up. His eyes are for the tea. When the last leaf is plucked, the baskets are near full, each layered with rows of green like the pages of a quiet book. The farmer ties a cloth over the top to keep the leaves shaded from the sun, and lifts the basket to his back with a soft grunt. The boy offers to help. He carries the smaller basket proudly, both hands gripping its frame. The mother places her bundle on her shoulder, and together they begin the walk back up the slope. No one rushes. The work is done, or rather, this part of the work. There is still much ahead. Steaming, rolling, drying, but that comes later. For now they walk as one body, one family, one part of the hillside returning home. The leaves shift softly with each step, their scent warm and alive. The sun has passed its peak. The light has turned honey gold. Shadows lengthen once again. And as they reach the threshold of their home, the farmer pauses. He turns once more to look over the terraces, now empty of motion but full of memory. Each bush, each step, each breath has been part of something older than any of them. A tradition not shouted but whispered, not written but felt. This is how leaves are gathered, not simply to make tea, but to remember what it means to be part of the world. The path from field to cup is neither quick nor easy, but it is familiar. After returning from the tea terraces, the farmer and his family take a moment to rest. The baskets are set gently beneath the porch, away from the sun, the leaves shaded by cloth and cooled by the mountain breeze. Tea leaves are delicate in their freshness, alive with moisture, with scent, with promise. They cannot be rushed into the fire. The farmer drinks a cup of cool water, then wipes his brow with a cloth he keeps tucked into his sash. His wife removes her head wrap and stretches her arms. The boy lies on his stomach near the edge of the porch, watching ants trace the patterns between stones. The house is still. The workroom waits. Behind the main living space is a small, earthen-floored room, half kitchen, half workshop. In one corner, a clay stove still warm from the morning's meal. Nearby, long wooden trays lined with fine mesh are stacked like shelves. On the opposite side, a low wooden table worn smooth by years of motion, kneading, rolling, folding, drying. The air here smells different. Less of soil, more of steam. Earth, yes, but mingled with fire and leaf, and something faintly sweet, like wood smoke tangled with spring. The process begins with steam. A large iron pot rests above the fire pit, already filled with fresh water. The farmer adds a few sticks, then strikes flint to kindling. The smoke is thin and blue at first, then darkens as the fire catches. He fans it gently, not with urgency, but with rhythm, back and forth, breath and flame dancing in quiet agreement. Once the water boils, a bamboo steamer is placed atop the pot, its woven lid holding in the heat. A cloth, damp and clean, lines the steamer's tray. The leaves, plucked just this morning, are now poured in carefully, a shallow layer spread by hand. No clumping, no crushing. Each leaf deserves its own space. The steam rises almost instantly. A hiss, a scent, a subtle change in colour. The farmer watches closely. Too long, and the leaves will wilt. Too little, and they will dry unevenly. It takes only a minute, maybe two. But the timing is known not by clocks, but by eyes and instinct. When the leaves are ready, he removes them with wide, shallow baskets made of reed. They drip lightly, the steam escaping in delicate spirals. He spreads them out on a bamboo mat to cool, gently separating them with his fingers. They're warm to the touch, soft but no longer raw. They begin to smell not like grass, but like tea. Next comes the rolling. This is where the real work begins. Not hard work, but steady, thoughtful, meditative. At the low table, the farmer sits cross-legged. He gathers a small pile of steamed leaves into his hands, presses them gently between his palms and begins to roll. Not forcefully, but with weight and attention, forward and back, in small circles, then back and forth again. The leaves respond to the motion, their juices begin to surface, coating his palms with a green sheen. This is where the flavour lives, drawn out not by crushing, but by coaxing. He rolls and folds, letting the shape of the leaves change under his fingers. His wife joins him. Together they roll in silence. The sound is soft, a rustling, a crinkling, like parchment shifting in the wind. Occasionally they pause to gather more leaves, or to stretch their backs, or to place finished batches into a tray nearby. The boy watches from the doorway. He imitates the motion in the air with his hands. Someday he will learn the proper weight of pressure. Someday he too will roll tea as his ancestors did. But today, he watches. The sun continues its journey westward. The light through the small window shifts from gold to amber. Shadows lengthen along the floor. A breeze stirs the paper screens, bringing in the scent of pine and distant wood smoke. When the rolling is done, the leaves are left to rest. They are placed on wide reed trays in a single layer, spread by hand to avoid clumping. These trays are carried out into the open air, but only under shade. The sun would scorch the fragile leaves. Instead, they are left under the overhang of the porch, or beneath a simple lean-to made from bamboo and cloth. The drying takes hours, sometimes all afternoon. The air does the work now. The farmer checks the trays periodically. He lifts a leaf, rubs it between his fingers, sniffs the aroma. When the texture feels right, dry but not brittle, pliant but no longer damp, they are ready for the final step, roasting. Not all tea is roasted, but here, in this house, a portion of the leaves are turned into hojicha, a favourite for the cooler seasons, mellow and toasty. In a shallow iron pan, the farmer slowly heats the dried leaves over the clay stove. The flame is low, barely more than a flicker. He stirs the leaves constantly with a flat wooden spatula, never letting them rest too long in one spot. As they roast, the smell deepens. It becomes nutty, warm, familiar, the kind of scent that makes a house feel like a home. He removes the pan from heat and pours the roasted leaves onto a tray to cool. They hiss gently as they settle. The tea is now complete. From field to fire, from leaf to flavour, the transformation is quiet, slow and beautiful. Not a single step rushed, not a single detail ignored. The family gathers around the final trays, not in celebration, but in quiet satisfaction. The farmer places a pinch of the fresh tea into a small pouch tied with twine. This will be taken to the village next week to be traded for salt, or rice, or cloth. Another pouch will be stored in a ceramic jar, sealed with care. The rest will be used in the days to come, brewed and shared in moments of stillness. The sun is low now. The field is bathed in the warm light of late afternoon. Cicadas hum softly in the trees. A kettle is placed once more on the stove. The first taste of the day's tea will be taken soon, and with it, a deep breath, a pause, and a quiet moment of knowing that something gentle and good has been made, by hand, by time, and by love. As the sun settles into the last arc of its descent, a gentler warmth spreads across the land. The shadows of the tea bushes stretch long across the hillside, and the songs of the birds shift, from the playful calls of the morning to the soft, lulling tones of evening. Inside the home, the work of the day gives way to the rituals of nourishment. The farmer's wife stands at the hearth, gently stirring miso into a pot of simmering broth. The aroma rises, earthy, fermented, layered. Into the pot she adds cubes of tofu, hand-cut with practiced ease, and a handful of greens gathered from their garden, mustard leaves, burdock root, slivers of spring onion. A dried fish, softened in water, lends its flavour to the broth. On a bamboo mat, rice is fanned and fluffed, then pressed into small balls, each one wrapped in a leaf or topped with a sprinkle of sesame. Simple, yet made with care. The boy brings in firewood, his feet pattering softly across the floor. He pauses to steal a radish slice from the chopping board. His mother pretends not to notice. The farmer sits by the window, inspecting a small tool that needs repair, a pruning blade with a chipped edge. He files it slowly, methodically, the rasping sound of stone against metal nearly inaudible over the gentle bubbling of the stew. Outside, the neighbours are returning from their fields as well. Distant voices rise and fall with laughter, carts creak along the path, and the rustle of straw sandals on gravel drifts on the breeze. Soon the evening meal is ready. The family gathers around a low wooden table, knees tucked beneath it on woven straw cushions. No elaborate ceremony marks the beginning of the meal, just a shared bow, hands pressed together in quiet gratitude. "Itadakimasu," they say in unison. "I humbly receive." They eat slowly, savouring the warmth of the broth, the texture of the rice, the crunch of pickled vegetables. No one rushes, no one speaks too loudly. The day has already said enough. After the meal, the boy brings out his writing slate. His mother corrects his brushstrokes, guiding his hand as he draws the curved symbols of hiragana. The farmer listens quietly, nodding in approval now and then, his hands busy mending a cracked basket. Later they step outside, letting the breeze wash over them. The light has shifted once more. Now a soft violet hue settles over the hills, blurring the edges of the landscape into watercolor. A neighbour appears at the gate. He carries a pouch of dried mushrooms and offers it in exchange for a small bag of roasted tea. The exchange is made with bows, with smiles, with the quiet understanding of people who share not only land but rhythm. Conversations in the village are never hurried. They wander like winding paths, through the weather, the health of animals, the turn of seasons. The farmer and his neighbour speak of a coming frost, of a birth in the village below, of the rumour that the daimyo's tax collector may visit before the end of the month. There is no fear, only preparation. In the distance, an old woman carries a bundle of herbs wrapped in cloth, her back bent but her steps sure. A child runs ahead of her, chasing fireflies. Two elders sit beneath a tree, sipping tea and watching the sky darken. This is not a world of spectacle, it is a world of presence. As night draws closer, the family returns indoors. The hearth is stoked once more and tea is brewed, a different blend now, meant for digestion and rest. The roasted leaves steep in silence, turning the water a warm amber. The boy dozes on his mother's lap as the father reads aloud from a worn scroll. Not a story of heroes or battles, but of fox spirits, of rain gods, of mountains who whisper in dreams. Tales meant not to thrill, but to soothe, to remind the listener of the world's hidden currents. In this home, every sound has softened. Even the creak of wood, the rustle of robes, the sip of tea, all are muted under the spell of evening. Beyond the walls, fireflies blink lazily in the tall grass. The moon, round and low, begins its climb, and in the fields below the tea bushes rest once more, untouched but not forgotten. Community in this world is not built on noise or grandeur. It is built on quiet exchanges, shared labour, meals eaten together, and the patient stitching of days. The family's movements begin to slow. The tools are put away. The water is cooled. The sleeping mats are laid out once again. The farmer steps outside for a final look at the sky. Stars emerge slowly, one by one, like seeds scattered in black soil. He takes a long breath, the kind that rises from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. The air is cool, the mountain is quiet. The day, like the tea, is complete. As the final light fades from the sky and the last birds tuck into branches for sleep, a hush settles over the valley. It is not just quiet, it is stillness, a stillness that feels earned. Inside the tea farmer's home, the hearth has burned low. Embers glow beneath a clay kettle, its curved lid rising slightly with the pressure of heat. The family moves in near silence now, as if the very walls of the house are asking for calm. The farmer takes a soft cloth and gently brushes the wooden floorboards, not to clean, exactly, but to centre himself. This too is part of the ceremony. In a room set slightly apart from the main quarters, a single paper lantern glows. This is the tea room, small, plain, and without ornament. Its beauty lies in its emptiness, in the space it offers to the moment. Tatami mats cover the floor, and in the alcove, a tokonoma, a hanging scroll bears a single brushstroke, a kanji character meaning still heart. A small flower arrangement sits beneath it, just two pale mountain blossoms and a branch of pine, arranged in a ceramic vase with uneven glaze, the kind of vase that shows the touch of the hand that shaped it. The air smells of cedar, earth, and warm water. The farmer kneels at the edge of the room. His wife and son follow behind him. They bow, not to each other, but to the space, to the quiet, to the act itself. This is not a formal tea ceremony in the style of the great city schools. There are no guests in silk robes, no lacquered utensils inlaid with gold. This is a family's evening rite, a ceremony made of breath, water and time, and that makes it no less sacred. The farmer retrieves a small ceramic tea bowl, shawan, from a wooden box. He cradles it with both hands, inspecting its surface for a moment. The glaze is soft green, cracked slightly in a spiderweb pattern from age and use. A treasured object, though not rare. Treasured because it has served so many evenings just like this one. He sets it down on the tatami with care. From a simple bamboo container he lifts a scoop of matcha, a finely powdered tea made from shade-grown leaves, hand-ground with care. The green powder is vibrant even in the dim glow of the lantern. It smells like spring grass, like stone, like memory. The water is ready. He lifts the kettle and pours a small amount into a separate bowl to cool it slightly. Too hot, and the tea will scorch. Then, using a curved bamboo ladle, he pours just enough into the chawan. With a whisk made from split bamboo, a chasen, he begins to stir. The motion is swift but gentle, a W-shaped rhythm that froths the tea into a light foam. No bubbles, no sound, just a soft swirling, like wind over still water. The bowl warms beneath his fingers as the scent rises, a scent that calms the mind. He turns the bowl slightly, not for display, but to find the best face of the cup. And then, in silence, he lifts it. One slow sip. The tea is smooth, slightly bitter, slightly sweet. It is not meant to dazzle. It is meant to ground, to bring the drinker back to the moment, back to breath. He offers the next bowl to his wife, and she receives it with bowed head and both hands. Then the son, who drinks carefully, eyes wide with the seriousness of the ritual. No one speaks. Words would disturb the warmth. Instead, they sit together in the dim room, backs straight, knees folded, watching the candle flicker in the corner. Outside, the wind moves through the reeds. A frog sings from the pond. The world continues, but here it is paused. The farmer refills the kettle with cool water, lets it heat slowly. He does not prepare more tea just yet. The ceremony is not about consumption. It is about noticing, waiting, being. In this quiet space, time expands. The room holds not just the people within it, but all their ancestors, all their days. The tea bowls have passed through generations. The hands that whisk tonight are the hands that once harvested, once steamed, once rolled the leaves in soft circles on worn tables. And somewhere within the bowl itself, if you listen with your heart, you can hear all of that. The farmer bows once more. The wife gathers the empty utensils, wrapping them in cloth. The son carries the lantern to the hallway, illuminating their way as they step softly into the rest of the home. The tea room remains behind, still glowing with the quiet weight of presence. The ceremony is over, but its effect lingers, like warmth in the hand after holding a cup. The night has fully arrived. Beyond the wooden walls of the tea farmer's home, the mountain breathes in darkness. A darkness not of fear, but of peace. The kind that holds you gently. The kind that softens the world's edges. Crickets sing steadily beneath the floorboards. The trees sway in slow motion, their leaves whispering secrets to the wind. Somewhere far down in the valley, a lone dog lets out a sleepy bark, then is silent again. Inside, the hearth has burned low, but its warmth still lingers in the air. The family has long since laid out their bedding. Woven quilts, hand-patched with care, straw pillows tucked beneath heads that rest easily, bodies shaped by labour, minds calmed by ritual. The father lies still, one hand resting lightly on his chest. His breathing is deep even, the rhythm of a man at home in his place in the world. The mother lies beside him, curled slightly, a faint smile still ghosting her lips. The boy, curled under a smaller quilt, dreams of clouds and rows of tea bushes, stretching endlessly under a morning sky. The house is silent. Only the occasional creak of the wood as it settles into the cool night. Only the hush of the breeze slipping through bamboo stalks. Outside, the tea fields are bathed in moonlight. Each bush, so carefully tended, rests in place, waiting for the next sun. The terraces hold still like shelves in a great natural library, storing the memory of hands that passed over them, of leaves gently plucked, of seasons moving like tides. Above, the stars wheel slowly across the sky. The Milky Way stretches in pale ribbons between the peaks. The moonlight spills like silver ink across rooftops, across winding paths, across the curved shoulders of the mountain. This is the hour of stillness, of listening, not for sound, but for meaning. And in this hour the world reveals itself, not in words, not in thunder, but in the softness of the present moment. Here, in this quiet farmhouse, on this high hillside, the tea farmer sleeps, and in his sleep he carries no burden, no longing, only the gentle weight of a well-lived day. The leaf has been plucked, the tea has been made, the hands have worked and washed and rested, and now the body joins the land in slumber. This life, slow, deliberate, unadorned, is one of harmony, not one of wealth, nor fame, nor conquest, but one of listening to the land, of rising with the sun and resting with the moon, of making things with care, of honouring the unseen. You too, dear listener, may feel this rhythm now. Let your breath slow, let your thoughts fall quiet. Let the hush of the mountains hold you like a blanket. Let the soft drip of moonlight on terraced fields cradle you in its memory. The tea has cooled, the fire has dimmed, the day has ended, and you may rest now.